This episode starts off with Munch and his retirement party. It's more of a roast, really, and people take shots at Munch, and then of course Munch takes his shots at everyone else. And my initial reaction upon reading the script was that it sounded so much like Munch, and it's almost as if Warren and Julie, Warren Leight and Julie Martin, the writers, were channeling Richard Belzer when they wrote it, you know. But everybody takes their shot. But it's a bittersweet scene, and I think it's a bittersweet episode. Munch is he's retiring from SVU, and he is actually going to the ADA's office, to the DA's office, to be an investigator for the district attorney. So he is not retiring as a police officer, but he is retiring from SVU. So hopefully that has potential to bring him back within the circle, and we'll get to work together again. But, you know, I have a lot of fond memories of working with Belzer. Obviously, I only joined the show 2 seasons ago. So, you know, in relative time, that's a short amount of time when you think about the show being on for 15 seasons. And yet I still have very good memories of working with him. You know, Amaro and Munch, I think, he was more of a mentor. There's several scenes where he shed light on what it would be like to be an SVU detective and what was important to keep in perspective. And a lot of the times he righted Amaro's ship. It'll be interesting without Munch there to see whether Amaro gets a little rudderless. But, you know, personally, I'm a big Richard Belzer fan. He's a very funny man. He's genuine. He's heartfelt. He's thoughtful. You know, he's a comedian. He's irreverent. He's a provocateur. But he's a very caring individual, somebody who is very thoughtful in his friendships. In essence, 2 trains running in this episode. You have the Munch storyline, which is very personal to all of us, and then you have the crime, and the crime centers around these secret parties that happen around the city in sometimes remote locations, odd locations, and it's difficult to get an invite. Everything is cash-based, so it's hard to trace who was at the party, and because of that, it's difficult to find who our assailant is, and so there are a lot of twists and turns in the episode, as you are probably expecting, but it does carry a weight to it because of what is currently happening within the squad room with Munch's departure. We start an investigation because Liv gets a text from a victim who has moved on and now claims to have been assaulted again, and so that's how the investigation begins, and we start walk out of the bar where we're celebrating and roasting Munch and drop right into the investigation. Sofia Vassilieva, she's a fantastic actor. She was here 2 seasons ago, I believe, and playing the same character who is re-victimized. And so we investigate her case with, I think, a much more personal angle because we know her from before. It's interesting, Liv having gone through what she went through in the premiere episode. She has her own perspective as to what the investigation is, and I think maybe she's perhaps more prone to believing the victim, and maybe Amaro and some of the other cops, some of the other detectives might be less convinced at the beginning. And so it's I think it's an interesting, not necessarily study, but it's an interesting presentation as to how cops can have different instincts, can have different perception of a victim or of a crime, and how they investigate that crime is probably based on those perceptions.